Hello, welcome to the May-June vlog. So this is 2024's May-June vlog. It's going to be a very, very quick one because unfortunately I'm filming in an area with, very poor lighting and very, very loud noises from the road, which you're going to hear every 5 seconds. There's going to be a whoosh of something going past because there's a lot of lorries and things going past outside there. So let's get into it very quickly. Very first thing I just want to sort of note is new location and the noisiest, squeakiest chair you've ever heard. The new location is my new repair area. So I've got like a nice new setup here for doing all my repairs and my weird little tinkering projects that I like to do. Things like soldering, repairing the kids' toys and stuff like that. I've managed to sort of create this very large standing bench where I can sort of stand up and do a load of stuff. See this orange thing about there, if I wiggle my finger at it, that's like an extraction unit for the soldering station, which is behind there, and then a lovely pegboard to kind of have all my toys on. There goes one of the cars right now. Right, cool. So it's covered in crap at the moment, but it's absolutely lovely. I'm really enjoying the fact that it's given me a lot more open space to do stuff. So May and June. So May and June, you may remember the May vlog was very, very short because I was actually at UK Games Expo at the time. We were just sort of finished setting up, and we were going into our first day of like getting everything ready, basically. So it was very, very short. So I'm going to be going through all the games and things from May and June, but in a kind of very whistle-stop way because I am recording this literally on the last day of June because I forgot June only has 30 days. So City of Gears was something I played right at the beginning of May. This was interesting, really, really well produced, but unfortunately the initial layout meant of the way that the cards are kind of laid out meant that I had quicker access to the ability to score points than Gemma did, so I absolutely trounced her in the end. So yeah, it wasn't a very, initial setup is very, very key to winning that game, I feel. So yeah, that one we're not going to play again, I don't think. Century Golems Edition, so these are one of the 4 games that I picked up at UK Games Expo, which includes Wingspan and White Castle and Florigeum. White Castle and Wingspan we're looking to play a bit later. But Century Golems, it was the Century Golems edition of Century Spice Road. It was okay. It was a little bit on the simple side. I mean, I understand that it's supposed to be very kind of like easy to pick up, but it was, changing cubes for the sake of changing cubes. It was really, really, like, the theme was not there at all. I had no inclination that it was, a bunch of golems wandering around doing stuff, training crystals. Basically, bit too basic for us, I think, but we'll have to see. We'll give it another play. There's a couple of little expansions there that may change things up. Florigeum was another game we picked up as a little kind of hand management card game. Absolutely beautiful artwork based on the artistry of this lady who does like super realistic depictions of flowers and plants and things. They used to use them in books, but she does it now as like a hobby thing, and it was really, really pretty. So we picked that one up. We did an exit, but I can't remember which one. I just remember enjoying it, so that was pretty cool. And then Splendor Marvel with the kids. So we finally managed to teach them how to play Splendor Marvel. They did not like it. My son got very confused. He kept trying to hoard everything. He didn't understand that when he spends things, he doesn't lose them. He's gaining stuff for later turns. So he really struggled with that bit. And my daughter was just bored. So never mind. And as I say, White Castle and Wingspan play later. Right, on to video games. So video games was a bit more interesting for me. So we recently resubscribed to Netflix, and I didn't realise Netflix came with a whole bunch of like little app games that you can download for the phone. So I played Death's Door, where you play this sort of crow who's working for an agency that's basically taken over from Death because Death has gone missing. So you're there harvesting souls, but something's gone quite awry because there seems to be souls missing. So you play as this little crow who's going in and out and trying to figure out where all these things are. Absolutely brilliant. It's a lovely little sort of, not roguelike, what do you call it? It's an action-adventure game where there's a little bit of like Castlevania style thing going on there, Metroidvania style, improving your abilities and getting better things and then collecting stuff. Really good fun. One of the other apps was Shovel Knight's Pocket Edition. This is like a rhythm game where you're trying to destroy monsters in a certain group, but you lose HP when you attack the monsters, so you've got to make sure you either kill them with the last blow, which means you don't take damage, and various other things. It's a rhythm game. Not a big fan. I felt sort of pressured, but not in a fun way, to sort of try and do these levels, and it wasn't for me. And then the last one is Spiritfarer, which is completely the other way. It's super chill, super relaxed. The whole gameplay loop revolves around picking up souls to kind of help them complete a last task and ferry them across this river, and you build up a boat in the process and farm things. It's a lovely, relaxing kind of game. I am concerned I may get bored before I get to the end because there's this I don't know if it improves later on, but there's a travel mechanic, and you can't fast travel. You have to basically point the boat where you want to go, and then wait for the boat to get there. And the only mini game that you can do during that is to either run around the boat, doing flips and stuff, or fish off the back of the boat to get boots and old herrings and stuff. Yeah, I'll see how that goes. One I picked up at the Expo, weirdly enough, was one called Boomanius. This was done by CGE Games. They have an app that's basically Bomberman meets Goblin adventurer who's trying to sort of go out and collect his friends and beat up these enemies. Quite good fun, yeah. Enjoyed that one. It's a shame it doesn't have control support, because I like to use a Bluetooth controller when I'm gaming on my phone, but hey ho, swings and roundabouts. Metroid Fusion, so I finally managed to finish that one. It's an old game for the Game Boy Advance, absolutely brilliant. Its twin, Zero Mission, which was also on the Game Boy Advance, goes for way more money, so I don't know if I'll be playing that anytime soon, but I've got a nice little backlog of games to get through, which I'm sort of not adding to at the moment, which is really, really nice. Yeah, Metroid Fusion, very good. And then a few tiny little games. Super Mario Land on the Game Boy, managed to knock it out in an evening because it's such a short little game. Absolute blast from my childhood, because it was one of the games I had on the original Game Boy. The very, very first one. It looked like a brick and it was grey. Yeah, which was absolutely brilliant to get through. And then Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland. That was another Game Boy Advance game that I played when I was a kid. Again, smashed it out in a few days because it was such a lovely, easy game to play. And then the last one has been going back to Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. So I usually love a little bit of Zelda because, I'm a big fan of the Legend of Zelda. This is one of the old 2D games from the Game Boy Color era. And it's really obtuse. Like, there's this whole bit where you're in, like, Goron Mountain, which is where I got kind of stuck, where none of it really maps out or makes much sense, so you're sort of going round and round in circles, with the added conundrum of the fact that you can skip between the past and the present, which means you've got two maps, essentially, that are different, and then there's only some ways to get back to one, and others. Created this whole headache for me, so I spent ages and ages and ages, and eventually I found a guide to sort of give me a map of the area so I could more easily navigate it. I finally found the next dungeon that you're supposed to complete, so hopefully I'll get back to that and finish it off, but yeah, really hard. And there's this whole rhythm game as well with like the dancing Gorons, which is a complete ball ache because you've got to have your timing absolutely perfect. So yeah, hopefully I'm going to try and finish that one. I've been playing that one for absolutely ages. So that's all the video games. As I said, new projects. So projects on my list were the new workbench, which is here. So I've moved, basically it was my old workbench from the other room, but what I've done is I've moved the 3D printer onto a desk that we had from the original Expo, which has freed up the whole desk, and I've now got a nice lamp that's coming down here to sort of light up the little jobs I'm doing. I'm quite washed out, it's quite bright. This chair is so squeaky. It's really getting on my nerves. Projects that I've done on it though, the big one is Game Boy Advance. So I took an old Game Boy Advance and reshelled it with this lovely sort of pink Kirby shell. Don't know if it's going to show up there, and this gorgeous IPS screen. I don't know if I can turn that on. You can see it there, but it gives us this backlit IPS screen, which is absolutely fantastic. Super gorgeous, super lovely to look at. In there I've got Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. It's a lovely old game from the original Game Boy era. It is just stunning. Yeah, I can play this in the dark now. Which is great, unless the battery dies. Yes, the next project on that one is to get a new battery kit for it to make it so that it has a rechargeable battery. This chair is driving me mad. Okay, so I'm going to throw away the old chair and then use it to repair a bunch of old toys and stuff like that. Yeah, that's about it for those sort of projects. And then, very quickly, books that I've read over this thing. One called Berserk, where you've got these two warring factions. They both use nanobots, essentially. One is biological, one is purely mechanical, and these two factions are fighting each other. There's a bizarre villain who's like two congenital twins. They're sort of combined together, but they obviously have two minds on their own. It's really weird, really strange book. I'm not sure how much I liked about it, and there was this lots of like dodgy material, so I'm not too sure about that one. And then proofreading loads of books for Gemma, so that's basically been my reading. My next book is called The Tank War. It's more of a factual talk about like tanks and things, because we visited the Bovington Museum, Tank Museum. That was really good fun. If you get a chance to go down there, that's down in I don't know where that is, but anyway, it's really good fun. Next to Monkey World, which was just a bit of a shock. And then I guess the last thing to talk about is game design. So I've taken quite a bit of May and nearly all of June off game design completely. Like, I've not done any. I did a pitch at the UK Games Expo for for Dragon Ranch, but I knew immediately as I was pitching it that I wanted to completely redesign it. So I've been trying not to go delving into game design this month deliberately, but obviously the brain is then churning through ideas and thinking, oh, hold on, what are all these things you can do, which is just typical when you don't want to think about these sort of things. So yeah, that's basically it. So May and June, bit of a weird, not washout, but very much concentrating on other things. I feel like I've done a lot and done nothing, which has been quite nice actually, to be fair. Yeah, not a lot else to report really, so I'll get this edited real quick and up on the website, and yeah, hope you have a good June, going into July now for the summer. Yeah, exciting. Bye.